folks, welcome inside the Paris Sea Palace, high above 3773 East Broadway. This is the Jake Feinberg Show. Coming to you on Power Talk. Please go to our website, powertalk.live. Download our free app and stream all of our live local programming, including Solomon on Blast, the Jim Parisi Show, and yours truly, the Jake Feinberg Show. Can't thank you enough for making us part of your day today. And one of the L's on my program is lineage, tracing back the roots of American music all the way to their original source. And one of the cats that I was able to connect with a few years ago was Kenny Gradney, and a tremendous bass player with great facility, somebody who's had to overcome a lot of adversity and woodshed a lot to get to where he needed to be. Recently, though, we had a conversation, and he said to me that he would be nowhere today without his brother. And his brother gave him his first big break in the music business. And in fact, his brother has seen and done quite a bit in the music business as well. And so he said, you got to try to interview this cat. And lucky enough, I called him the other day. He answered the phone. He agreed to come on. And here he is, Gabriel Gradney. Welcome to the Jake Feinberg Show.
Thank you, Jay.
It's an honor to connect with you, man.
Wow. Well, I hope I can answer all your questions.
You know, it's real freeform. I was wondering. I wanted to talk to you a little bit about if you could talk about when you guys moved. Were you born in Louisiana, or were you born in L.A.?
Okay, my mom is from New Orleans, and my dad's from Texas. He's on the Cajun side of the family, and my mother's on the Creole side of the family. And they, because of my mother's mother, they knew my dad's family in Texas. And what they used to do during the Depression and everything is they would barter because there's no money, you know.
Right.
So, and that's how my mom got to know my dad. Is they would get in the car in Louisiana and pile it with a bunch of things and sewings and different things that the other people in Raywood, Texas, outside of Houston, they couldn't get it. And that's how people lived, no matter what race, creed, or color were out there. That's what you did to live. You had a little barter thing going, and they would bring pies and different things, and they would bring it out there, and they knew how to live. And that's how my mom met my dad.
And
like love at first sight, I guess.
Yeah, no, I mean and then they stayed together forever. I mean, they stayed together forever.
Forever, man, forever.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. I mean, what I'm trying to get at is this idea, like I've interviewed a lot of cats whose folks were actually based French Creole. Based in Ndugu Chancellor, the drummer. His folks were based in New Orleans and actually run out of town because his dad had a successful business, and you know, as an African American, that wasn't acceptable. So he was run out, and then he moved to Southern California. But that's not. You're telling me that was from where you were at. Everybody was bartering, no matter what race, creed, or color.
Well, yeah, at that time, when things started calming down and then they wind up, getting married, my dad, because we grew up in the music industry. And my dad, what he did is he came to California, left my mom, and my mother and them went to New Orleans. And she stayed with her people in New Orleans. In the meantime, my dad came out and he's trying to make it. I don't know if the people even heard of groups like that called the Platters and the Penguins and those kind of people.
Mm-hmm.
Well, like for example, Little Richard and those kind of guys. They used to rehearse at our house on Ruth Ellen Street.
Really?
Oh yeah, that's like no big thing. Richard used to come over all the time. You know, and my mother couldn't, I'm going to tell you, she couldn't stand him. And then one day, I'll tell you a little story. One day, my mom, we'd be standing in the kitchen. My mother would grab us, come on, let your dad take care of business. And my mom, he came over one day, and he told my father, he said, "Here, Mike," he said, "play this," and he yelled, "Hey, Lucille!" My mother goes, "What is that?" Well, I ain't gonna tell you how she said it. But you kind of peeked out the kitchen because it was a tiny house, so we peeked out of the kitchen with her behind her apron, and he said, "Hey, I wrote this song. I want you to listen to it." And my daddy put it on because he knew what it was, and my father was laughing on the inside. And that was that hit record he had called Lucille.
Wow. He wrote that off your...
Yeah. And that was my mother's name, Lucille. And he wrote that, and my father's laughing, and Little Richard's laughing. And he's sitting there he's sitting down. He got his hands clasped together between his legs. And my father's looking, and everybody's looking at him, and he starts singing that song to my mother. Lucille, back where you belong. And he's singing that song to her, and she said, "Get in the kitchen, get in the kitchen." And she gets in the kitchen, and she didn't want to hear that. Because, he'd wear his hair up in a bouffant, and he had makeup and all that stuff on. My mother was staunch Roman Catholic, man. You just didn't do that, man. And Little Richard was... And him and my dad were in there just laughing. We had the Coasters, a group called the Coasters. They used to come over and rehearse. My father would get them, put them on. And I met, let me see, what's his name? We met I met the Platters and all of that.
I mean, this is, and again,
yeah.
And this is, we're still in the Bayou at this point. You haven't moved to California yet, right?
No. We are in Los Angeles in a 2-bedroom house. 3662 Ruth Dillon Street.
Unbelievable. So you just...
You have to understand, blacks couldn't live in, per se, quote, Beverly Hills.
Right.
I would go hang out with Forrest Hamilton. His father was a great Chico Hamilton, the jazz drummer. We would drag race against each other when we were younger. Go down to a place called... I was around those people, and Lamert Park was the Beverly Hills for all the black folks. Lamert Park.
Absolutely. I promoted a concert down there for the late great Gene Russell at Lamert Billy Higgins has a club down, or he, rest in peace. He had a club down there too. But when you first got out to, what is your first musical memory? Because, when I talked to Kenny, he was talking about more his peer group, like Roland Batista and all these cats. But the thing that was amazing to me is that you made a connection with Forrest, which was Chico's son. Is that right?
Right, Hamilton. And Forrest was the executive vice president. He worked for Dr. Bell, and he ran all the West Coast for Stax Records Corporation. I had to bring what's his face?
Isaac Hayes.
I had to bring him on the road. I did Mark Hayes. I did the Dramatics in the Rain, and I did all of this. I was on the black side of the label. Me, I was the first, and my brother and all the people that maybe is still alive. I don't know. I was the first black rock and roll roadie ever.
This is phenomenal. So first of all, the question is this. The best way I've talked to a lot of the jazzers, and it was like you had race records. Okay, first you had race records, and then it got changed to rhythm and blues, and then when R&B. And then when Elvis, when you just tell me how I'll tell you what I've been told, and then you can break it down. Elvis started singing, and cats on the radio, when they heard him, they thought he was black. But when they found out he was white, they said, we can't...
No, wait. Look. Okay. Elvis Presley.
Yeah.
My dad, he knew. He was as we would say down in New Orleans, he was a Cajun. He was a Cajun.
A Cajun.
He was a Cajun. Elvis Presley is a Cajun. Period. And he would tell you that in a heartbeat. That's who he was. He was a Cajun.
For the peeps out there, like I'm 39 and younger, and they look at it like Cajun is like a type of spice in a food or something. What is it? What would that mean to Elvis? What was he calling himself?
Cajuns and Creole, they lived together. And a Cajun is a Cajun. He's a Frenchman that came down and escaped when Napoleon was overthrown. They went up into Quebec. Then the Cajuns and the Creole, they came down in wagon trains like my daddy's daddy did, and they settled. They split up and they went into let me see. They went somewhat to New Orleans, Louisiana.
Right.
Okay. Now you know about the Louisiana Purchase, okay?
Yes.
You seen that?
No,
Okay.
Before you go on, though, the thing that I'm fascinated with is that Napoleon got overthrown in Haiti, but you're saying is that what you're talking about, or he got overthrown in Louisiana?
Wherever Napoleon was overthrown. Now, when you say Creole, you know what Creole means?
No, tell the peeps.
Okay. A Creole is a person that's born. They're French, but they're not born on the mainland of France.
I dig.
That's all they are. But we're French, and they speak. My father he knew both dialects. The Creoles speak a broken French, and it's more like a slang.
Sure.
And then, my mother, because of my father, knew how to speak Cajun French, which is spoken back home on the mainland in France. They could communicate with each other. That's the Cajun, yeah.
So Elvis called himself a Cajun, but when I was just going to finish this point, and then you tell me when it was rhythm and blues was rocking out, but when they found that Elvis was singing and he was white, they said we can't call this rhythm and blues, we have to call it rock and roll. But you were the first.
Well, yeah, they call it rock and roll. But when I came back from Vietnam, I went back with a group, and my cousin Al McKay, who wrote most of all the music and everything.
Hold on, Al McKay. Al McKay.
Yes, my cousin.
Earth, Wind, and Fire.
Anyway, yeah. Anyway, Al McKay played with a group called the Watts 103rd Street Rhythm Band.
Charles Wright.
Okay, so now, when they broke up, the drummer and the bass player and two of the other guys they blew horn, they went and started working for Motown, and started doing studio work. Al McKay got snapped up, and he was doing studio work, and all of a sudden Maurice came up and asked him, and he started writing all their hits.
Right.
I went on a road with a group called the Staple Singers. Okay.
Sure.
So I used to take care of Pop Staples and Mavis and the other girls. Now there was another group called the Emotions. You got the best. Were the daughters of the Staple Singers.
Wow.
Right. Mavis was the aunt to them. And the other girls, Mavis' sisters, and Pop tried to get me when he was leaving Stax Records because he said he just felt he was just too old. We were talking about it at the Apollo Theater in New York. I was in the dressing room with him, and he told me, would I come to Chicago and run his nightclub? And I told him no, because I just didn't want to do that.
Yeah.
Because I felt I was being pulled out of the loop.
The loop and
I called.
Yeah, I dig.
Yeah, and I called Forrest. Forrest said, no, let me talk to Pop. Well, let me share something with you. There was a situation that I was running from, and Pop liked the situation, and they were going to pull me into the situation. And I felt like if I'd have did it, I'd have been stuck, and I'd have been forced to do something I didn't want to do, like as in getting married and stuff like that. I didn't want to do that. So I did like my father.
I dig. So I did. So I just want to be clear, though. You were working for Watt Stax at this point. And he wanted you to come to
No,
Chicago.
no. No, I was working for Stax Records Corporation. What Stax is, okay, let me go back to my rock and roll days.
I really want to go to the rock. Yeah, we're jumping around. Just go back to the rock. Yeah.
Okay, the rock and roll is the only big concert I missed was Woodstock. Okay, I missed that one.
Right.
But okay, I went to Strawberry Fields. That's when the Beatles singing about Strawberry Fields forever. Okay, I went to Strawberry Fields and I did a big show in Strawberry Fields. Okay, and it was a trick. This guy grew strawberries. It was a field of strawberries, but it was and at the same time where they had the place set up. I'm driving on his property. I wave at him as we're going, and he's on his tractor. And I kept going because he yelled, "Follow the dirt road." So we're following the dirt road, and we get there, and all of a sudden, boom! That's this massive stage and everything. I was with a group called Delaney, Bonnie, and Friends, who had broken off from Leon Russell.
Absolutely.
Correction, yeah, Leon Russell and Joe Cocker.
That's right.
Okay. Right. Okay. So I went, and I was on the road. I was in roadie, and I was taking care of him. And we set up there that big 3-day concert there. And it was phenomenal. I met I was on the road with which I want to kick myself into you know what, man, because I really wanted to. I thought about this, and I wanted to go, and they wanted me to come work for them. There's a group called The Band, and
oh my! I can't. I've been transcribing all these excerpts from Ronnie Hawkins lately. I mean, he was the original, the Hawk. But I mean, Levon, you were hanging with Levon and Danko and those cats.
Okay, did Steven ever tell you about the train ride?
Who? Kenny?
Yeah, did Kenny ever tell you about the train ride?
Yeah, well, no, the Canadian trip, right? That trip.
Right. Okay. All of us.
The festival. It's called the festival. It was called the Festival Express. The Festival Express.
Okay, right. Okay, everybody was on that train, man.
I know.
What's her name? What's her name?
Janice.
Yeah, Janice was there, and I knew Janice was there. Everybody would run and hide. Anyway, Janice was there, and they had this car, this cattle car. It was all cleaned out and everything, and they had everything set up. And these guys, Sam Clayton, the conga player for Delaney, Bonnie, and Friends, he's sitting down there. And one day my brother walked in there. And you got to remember, Kenny was young. He was a kid. And Kenny walked in and he sat down there. And this big fat guy was sitting and he was plucking on his guitar. He said, "Hey, man, and the train is moving." And Albert King he's sitting there staring at Kenny too. And he goes, "Hey, man, we heard that you're a phenomenal bass player." He said, I can play bass." He said, "Well, where's your axe? Go get your axe." So I'm the roadie. He looked at me. I said, "I'll be right back." So I go in my room. I get his axe. I bring it back. My little baby brother's telling big brother what to do. That's a trip. So anyway, I bring his axe and I put it down, open it up, pull it out, and give it to him. And he's sitting down there. And then all of a sudden he started playing this song. And that was one of my favorite tunes. And I didn't know that was Leslie West of Mountain, man. And he started playing that Mississippi Queen.
Wow.
And Kenny was sitting down there burning with him. And Albert King, now, you picture this. You got 3 top drummers there, man. And they all got these 3 sets of drums. And then Albert King turns around. He said, "Let me get my girlfriend." And he pulls his axe out. And he starts burning and all in it. And Janis Joplin, she's toe up from drinking at Southern Comfort. She's sitting there blowing and she's singing with, and then Jerry Garcia, his roadie brings his guitar, man, and they all sitting in there singing Mississippi Queen. That was crazy.
I want to go back. I had a chance. I want to ask you something about. I had a chance last week to interview Howard Scott from War, and he was in a band called the Creators. And it was actually originally it was maybe a different amalgamation, but David T. Walker was in the Kinfolk.
That's my Wait, David T. Walker. Now you're going back with my dad. That's
Well,
my dad.
because what I'm saying is, but I mean, but Gabriel, I mean, like I've done 2 deep hangs with David T. He was in a band called the Kinfolk, and they were all
Right.
on the Chitlin circuit. So, paint the picture for the audience, if you would, when you were the first black rock roadie, what that Chitlin circuit was like, and maybe some of the experiences that you had to deal with, and how you had to somehow, make it a successful trip for these cats.
Well, it's not like I was in it. I was accepted in. I never thought about it like that. I was hanging out, man. I'm sitting there, we're singing out, we're waiting to go on stage, man, and I'm all the roadies get together when you would stop and do these massive festivals like that train ride, and we're helping all the groups get set up. We're doing everything together. Nobody looked at, you were this color or that, or you just did it, man. You were rocking, man. And my specialty was handling your drums, because that was you have to set these drums up a certain way for what these guys like, and you throw those big those Vox and Marshalls and Fender amps and all. You putting all that stuff. You got to be able to, as one group goes off, you got to strike it and and you're pushing the next group up. And then all they got to do is plug in. Everything is already set to go, and you rock it, man. And as they get off the stage, you break their stuff down, put it back on the train. Trucks are sitting there ready to bring it back to the train. And once we got through with the festival, we were gone. That was it. Sundance light.
Yeah, well,
those.
Well, I was gonna say, because the Festival Express, that was truly like psychedelic, very open, free love hippies. I mean, I'm talking more like the tours that you were going on with these black rock groups, and because Festival Express was like 71 or something. It was like maybe 70.
Yeah, okay. When I went with Stax, man, I walked in the room with Forrest Hamilton, man, and he was like freaking out. He said, we got to do Watch Stax at the LA Coliseum.
Oh my God, I love that. That's my favorite album, dude.
I said, well, what are you freaking out about? He said, man, with Stax, we got all of these groups on here. I said, it's a piece of cake, man. I said, let me show you. I said, you got the groups, the lesser groups. He said, yeah. I said, okay. You got the Stax Orchestra. He said, oh, okay. I said, Motown got the Motown Orchestra. Now you got the Stax Orchestra. We set up the Stax Orchestra for it. Now, you came up there, and you did your one-hit record. Once you did your hit record, get off the stage. So we had the ones with the one-hit record, now get off the stage. Now the shows start, last 4. Here come the Barkays and everything. The Temps, but the Dramatics couldn't be there at all, so they couldn't make it.
Right.
So the last one to come out naturally is Isaac Hayes. And here he is driving down real slow, and the people are just going totally nuts. And I'm looking, shaking my head. We had Sundance lighting. We had, what's his name? Oh, gosh. Oh, if I can remember his name. Anyway, he recorded everything live, and I went and got him. We did Artie King and I did the stage, the lighting, and sound, and everything.
Well,
we did it all.
Who was the like Bear or Owsley? Who was recording it? You can't remember that guy?
What's his name? He did all the live recordings of all the rock and roll groups and everything. I forgot his name. Oh man, if I could remember who the name of the company.
All right, it'll come back. So I mean, the point is,
right.
Hayes comes down. Everyone's going insane. He gets up on the stage with the orchestra. What happens?
Yeah, he's throwing kisses out and everything, and all of a sudden he's got this big cape and robe on, man, and he pulls his cape and robe off, and his men run up to him, man, and they pull it off. There's his chains on, and the crowd erupted, man, and I'm sitting there. I'm looking at that because, after you do these big 300,000 man, 350, 500,000 man concerts, to me, it was just another rock and roll show. That's all it was. Just another rock and roll.
Yeah, no, this is really important, though. I mean, because I interviewed this cat, Dennis Budemer, this guitar player, and he used to be in Chico's band with Charles Lloyd, and they used to go.
Song One. Yeah.
Did you hang? Because there'd be times where like they'd be driving across the country from L.A. to New York, and Dennis is like, "Yo, I'm starving, Chico," and Chico's like, "Yeah, we can't stop in this town, man. They won't serve us." I mean,
Okay. Now you go way back in the day. That's the '60s, man. But, I'm in Vietnam and all that. Because when I was on the road with a group called Hamilton, Joe Frank, and Reynolds, don't pour your love out on me, baby. I'm driving their stuff across town, man, and across the country, down south in the Carolinas and all that. Man, I'm scared to death. Here's just one black dude driving this equipment, headed down, and I got to pull over to the, and they're all staring at me, man, and making little nooses and swinging them at me, and I'm like, oh Lord, get me out of here. Well, that's the kind of stuff I would go through with them. But after I got with Stax Records, man, things were dramatically changing really, really fast.
Specifically, why? How can you attribute for someone like myself? Like, was it just? What were the factors that helped? Was the music a big part of that change?
Right, because I'm on the road with a group. I'm on the road with "Don't Pour Your Love Out on Me, Baby." He was hot, and when the people found out that I was with the group, they just, oh man, wow, can you autograph this for me? Hey, I'm just a roadie, man, but I'll sign it for you. And I had a stack of what they call those albums. My father used to give them out.
The 45s or the 10-inch?
No, the LPs. The LPs. You hand them out the LPs, and you sign it off and hand it to them. Oh man, I was a hot mama then, man. I had albums. Just give them to the cops and everything. Oh, go on, man, go on. They leave me alone. Those are the kind of things. When you're a roadie on the road, man, let me tell you, man, it's kind of crazy.
Well, no,
you ever heard of
yeah, go ahead.
You ever heard of a place called Studio Instrument Rentals? You ever heard of that?
Dolph Ramp, baby. Break it down.
Dolph was my ace. Him and Ken Berry.
How did you meet Dolph? Can you talk about how you met Dolph and then riff on SIR?
I just walked in the door. I just walked in the door, man. I was a rock and roller, man. I said, hey, you guys got any open anything happening? He said, what do you do, man? I said, what do you want done? And Dolph looked at me, man. He said, you're a smart mouth. I said, yeah, I know it, man. So what's up? I said, you ever heard of a group called Little Feat? And he goes, yeah, man, in rehearsal. I said, my little baby brother's playing bass. And, come on in. Hey, man, what do you want to do? I said, I need a job, man. I want a job. Because I didn't want to. Sometimes you got to take. I had all those pro roadies, man. Excuse me. We would do concerts. Like, we did the Hoop, man. Drove about, we took the big truck, 18-footer, and we drove all these amps and stuff and mixed things, and we drove them down to San Diego. We did a big show out there, okay? So it was Anaheim or San Diego. We drove all this stuff out here. We unloaded all this stuff for the Hoop, and they got this place lit up, man, ready to rock. They were getting ready to do a sound check or something. And I said, here's your amps and everything. And me and Bobby, man, who now owns Modern Musical, he goes, I said, we're going to see you guys later. Have a good day. They, hold on. Where you going, man? I said, wait a minute. I said, we were Studio Rentals, and you ordered this stuff. I said, we brought it out to you. He said, no, that's not the thing here, man. Hey, stay here, man. No, you're going to help us with the stage. Wow. I said, hey, what? He said, come on, man. Don't worry about it. I'll take care of you. Now, back in the day, okay, a guy turned around and hand you cash. He hands you cash money for $1,000. You know how much money that was today?
Probably about $50 or $100,000.
Come on, he handed me $1,000. I folded it up after the show, man. We helped them load their tractor-trailer trucks, and it's the only time I ever seen them. Goodbye, adios. That was it.
Talking to Gabriel Gradney here on the Jake Feinberg Show live on Power Talk. You said something earlier. I have been fascinated with rhythm players, drummers. Can you talk specifically about, like, were you breaking down or setting like James Gadsden set with the Watts band, or was it?
James, that was my ace. That's my homeboy.
I know.
James?
What a sick. I mean, dude, he was playing with Dyke and the Blazers, dude.
Oh, come on, Dyke and golly, you brought back. Oh,
Yeah, we're going
man.
back. We're going back, Abe. We're going way back.
Oh,
Yeah.
bro, man. Yeah, come on.
Yeah. This is where it's
Dyke
at,
and
man.
the
This is where, dude, Johnny Talbot and the Thangs. These are the cats that were doing it, man. You know, people think my generation and younger, they think Sly Stone started funk music. No.
No. I used to come downstairs. Okay, we were on the suite 1533 on Sunset and Vine. Okay, I used to come downstairs and I walk in there and I go in the back and what's up, man? What's going on? Hey, nothing much, bro. What's going on? And that was Sly Stone. Sly Stoned. So I would go in the front get the guys with Columbia Records. Columbia distributed Stax Records for us. Okay?
Right.
They were our distributor.
Right.
Okay, so I'd go down there and I'd hang out with my PR man. That was my homeboy down in the office. And I'd hang out with him for about 3-4 hours and I'd leave and I'd go back upstairs to my, and I was forced to, and I say, I'm leaving for the day. He said, stay here. Man, he said, I got one more meeting, man. I need you to help me. He says, here, kid, I need you to be a fifth of Courvoisier. I said, okay, and I ran down to the liquor store and got him a fifth of Courvoisier and I come back. I said, what is this for, man? You don't drink. You can't drink. He said, well, I got Richard coming over here. So in walks the door, and I got him little styrofoam cups, and I put them in Forrest's office. I had to wait for him, and Richard Pryor, man. And they're in there laughing their tails off, and Richard's he's out of control, laughing and with his jokes and the whole thing.
Wow.
And that's his drink. But I didn't know Richard Pryor. We'll tell you. Just all you got to do is say, you know Richard Pryor? How close? I know a real. Okay, what does he drink? What's his favorite drink? And they'll freeze up because they don't know his favorite drink. His favorite drink was Courvoisier. And Forrest and they would go down to his house in Malibu and gambling and going on and play them cards, man. Play cards.
When
till a wee hour.
Well, I wanted. This is important because we are flying around here. Can you talk about before you went?
Yeah, you got to pick who you are because I can. Man,
no. I mean, this is just set. This is just set one. I mean, you don't have to work. We don't have to get through your whole career right now. But I'm saying, what did you? Can you talk about where you were at before you went to Vietnam? Was that with Phil Upchurch and Pop Staples? Like, what were you doing in the business before Vietnam? Nothing, or that were you in the biz?
Okay, look, my father, I helped my dad, and I would go hang out with him. But he did not want me or my brother, none of us, to get into the music industry. He did not want. He did everything he could to block it, but he couldn't block and get it out.
Yeah, right.
When I first started, I was fascinated by it. To watch groups come in and make these records, man. They turn the tape on and put an old microphone out there and start singing. And I'd sit there and I'd watch the Platters, I'd watch the Penguins. Watch those kind of groups, the doo-wop groups. I'd be watching all of them do their thing. Little Richard, we went down to a few of his recordings, not many, because he would do his thing and then he'd come over and my father did something for Little Richard. I think he was his PR man, and I would just hang out with my dad. And I remember one of the guys. I think he said, till then, my darling, please wait for me. I think he committed suicide or something because I had to get in the car with my dad. And my dad had to rush down to the motel on Figueroa when, what's his name, got shot by that hooker. What's her, gosh.
No, I don't. I mean, you're going deep. I just want to be clear. Your dad.
Man. This is like way back.
But I want to be clear. Your dad was a barterer, but he was connected to the musicians. How was he connected to them?
Oh, he took them on the road. He took Ike and Tina Turner. He took all these people on the road. I go over to Ike and Tina Turner's house up in Ladera Heights. You know, it was like, okay. And my father, come on, go with me. I don't want to go up there. I didn't like going up there. Ike was kind of, So anyway, I went up there with him, and there'd be a lot of things where you and I would have to meet in person for me to tell you a lot of.
Well, no, of course, no, I did. I mean, listen, all I'm trying to say is like I'm trying to figure out when your dad, he met your mom, they were both doing but when he moved out there, how did he connect with cats like he was in the biz he was
already in the business. He came out from Texas. Okay, my dad was in Texas. He's in Houston. He started the first black radio station.
Wow.
And he this little tiny place sitting in the pasture, a horse pasture, a radio station, and the Ku Klux Klan was dousing it with gasoline and setting on fire, nailing the doors closed. And my dad couldn't get it, but somehow he got out of there, got away.
Wait a minute. You cut out there for a minute. He had a building in a horse pasture, and he was running this sort of.
Yeah, he had his little radio station going.
And the Klan and the Klan came by and was like and trying to they were dousing it with kerosene.
Yeah, they set it on fire with him in it. They had threatened him already, told him, "You better get out of here with that stuff." And he wouldn't stop. He loved it. And then my mother was freaking out and going on. That's why he left. He said, okay. Well, he hooked up and got a little connection and took off and went to L.A. So we stayed several years in New Orleans, and my mom and them got on the train. Finally, my dad got a house, 3662 Ruth Ellen Street.
Yeah.
And we got on the train. And we came out, and my dad was there, and he was always out. My father got a job with Lockheed Aircraft Corporation, painting airplanes. And on the side, he was doing his music thing until one day he quit Lockheed and just took off in full heart, And that's when he was starting to do with the Platters and them. He would take them because he was making good money with them.
And he would be considered like the tour manager. What was his title?
He was a road manager.
He was the road manager. And at that point, you were not a roadie though. You just knew your dad was on the road with these cats. He might take you to their house once in a while or something, but you weren't going.
Right.
Yeah, I did.
Right.
I did. So unbelievable. And your mom, even though she was straight Roman Catholic, that she stuck with your dad, even though he was totally obsessed with the music and everything that came with it.
And my mom hated it. She hated the music industry. She would go to the things with my the dinners and everything, and with my dad and everything, and wouldn't. She'd sit there, man, like a bump on a doggone log. She wouldn't even socialize with some of the people.
Oh man, your dad still kept a good high energy. That would have really dragged me down if my wife was being a bummer, man.
But with the industry, my dad was high energy. You know why? Because he had his kids backing him up. We loved him doing that. He'd come home and go, okay, come here, listen to this. And I heard a song, and I was real young, man. I was listening. I was like shocked. And this guy came over to my house with us, and excuse me, my dad put it on because my father took this guy on the road. We were young, and let me see, what was some of the lyrics? I used to like listen to that song. Peep through muddy water and spot dry land. That was some of the lyrics on that thing. Muddy waters and those kind of guys.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And my father made fun of B.B. King because B.B. King was considered in the blues industry. He was considered a baby. In comparison to these guys like Muddy Waters and Howlin' Wolf and those kind of guys that they came from that era. That's why when you play their music, you could hear it inside them. They lived it, man. They lived that blues, man. They lived it. So
was BB more middle class? So people thought he wasn't authentic.
Yeah. I mean, listen to his music. he was more with Lucille, his guitar. He was more middle class.
I dig. Well, because
Right,
I'm just
right.
trying to think about the idea, like when you talk about chess records, for instance, we didn't actually go with the pop state with the
Come on, man.
no, but you know what I was getting at is that Phil Upchurch used to go down to markets,
Whoa,
go down.
what do you know about these guys? You know these cats too?
I've interviewed all of them.
Wow.
I've interviewed Cash.
What about-
I've interviewed Cash McCall and Phil Upchurch and Ahmad Jamal and Ramsey Lewis. What I'm trying to say is that you see, I was going to ask you. This is so fascinating, though. The authentic.
I like.
Yeah, go ahead.
I was a Latin jazz. Stephen, my brother Stephen and I, we were personified Latin jazz freaks. Even though I was on the road.
Oh my God, are you kidding me?
I was a roadie. Oh man, I was a Latin jazz fan. I used to play percussions. I used to play congas, and there was a place in L.A. called Virginia's.
Oh my gosh.
And you know about Virginia?
No, I've never heard. This is wait. Tell me, Mongo and Willie Bobo. Did Willie Bobo showed up there with Mongo?
Hey, you name the biggest names in Latin music. That's who played at Virginia's. Michael, my brother Michael, man, if he was here, he'd tell you. We lived in Virginia. When every free minute I got, I went downtown. I hung out in Virginia's, man. That was the place. Oh man!
And you were playing, like conga drums.
No. I went, because I had my own little band, and a group called the Teen Turbans. I left him. Al McCain left him, and he went with a group called Earth, Wind and Fire. Them kind of guys. So anyway, I was a Latin, and I still am. I'm a Latin music. Don't play any.
Mariachi.
Music.
Don't play. Yeah, no mariachi. No, listen. I want to. So you were down with. Was it Renee Touzette had the thing going on at the Palladium? There was danceable music. It was just dancing. You were dancing.
Yeah, but and I got Dolphin Kid in it, man, in that type of thing. We were bringing at the big shows, man. We were bringing equipment to them.
Were you going to Memory Lane?
Oh man,
Yeah.
where did you go? What?
Because dude, because Jack Folks, man, dude, Jim Keltner used to play with the Afro Blues Quintet +1. That's
yeah. Well, see, a lot of the guys I knew them hello. And we were talking. I knew them like personal, like going the road with them type thing. I knew them because they knew Forrest, and we knew, and Forrest's father was who he was, the famous Chico Hamilton, and
rest in peace, man.
Yeah, and right. That was hard. Forrest died. Forrest passed away. Willie Bobo was. We were friends. Whenever he came to town, either at the Lighthouse or the something by the sea, not far.
Concerts by the sea. Concerts
by the sea. Okay, right. I would go there, and I would go make sure that after I left Forrest and everything at his house and the whole thing, I'd split and go down there in Concerts by the Sea and just sit there and listen to Willie, man, and just
unbelievable.
Just jam with him, man, until the shows were over, and we talked for a little bit, and I kind of knew some of the guys in the band and everything, but I couldn't recall who they were, and then we would leave from there. But Willie was one of my favorite of all time Latin. He played the timbales, man, and I played congas, man, that kind of thing, man. So
can you just talk to the audience about that clave feel? Like what was because that splits your brain in half or maybe in quarters, because if you take a trap set out and just put timbales, bongos, and congas together, when I interviewed Howard Scott last week, he talked about living in Compton. He'd go across to the street, and the Mexicans would have their rhythms, and they would Howard and the Harold Brown, those guys, they'd have their rhythms, and they meshed them together, and that's honestly where funk came from, because nobody was calling music funk, but that.
No, hey, and get the funk out of my face, Get the funk out of my face. What's his name? A&M Records.
Herb Albert?
Yeah. No. Yeah, Herbert Albert hooked it up with I met Herbie. I met him twice, just passing, because that man was like straight busy, man. But Quincy got a group. Let me see the brothers.
Yeah,
the brothers. Yeah, the brothers. Okay, the brothers Johnson. And he recorded several albums. He produced several of the albums and made them superstars. But they wanted to break away and do their own thing, and they crashed and burned. Because when you get somebody like him producing, man, just sit in the cut and let the man produce you, man, and you're going to have hit after hit after hit. And that's what they were doing, man. And I guess people get a little big hit. I don't know.
When you got drafted for Vietnam, I kind of I wanted to read you this quote because I mean this, Gabriel. I kid you not. I mean. This whole show has been a spiritual, sacred journey, and I have a feeling that you know this cat, and maybe you even served in Vietnam with him. I'm going to read you this story from my second interview with this cat, and I'll tell you who it is, and then you can riff on it. He said, we were stationed in Chu Chi, which is about 60 miles from Saigon. We were getting killed every night, and we couldn't figure out why. One night we shot some Viet Cong, and they weren't dead, but they were crawling. We said, hey, don't kill them. Let's go see where they're trying to get to, because they were all headed the same way. As it turned out, our base camp had a cemetery. Their base camp was directly under ours. All the headstones in that cemetery moved. They'd come out at night, throw charges, and kill up a bunch of us and go disappear. Their base camp had hospitals, schools, everything, and it was directly under ours. And that is from Clarence McDonald. You know Clarence?
No. Name though. See, he was Army, okay?
Okay.
And I was Marine Corps. He was South, I was North. They put all the Marines up north, near the DMZ and all. We were in Da Nang and that kind of thing,
Wow.
And I was a sniper at the time, and I'd go out and do what I had to do, and that kind of thing. That's what we would do. And I know. See, out there they call them pagodas. And they lived inside these pagodas. These pagodas are actually tunnels and everything up underneath the pagodas in these graveyards. If you go down south, like we were past, and you look down south, like in Louisiana and Texas, Mississippi, and you look down, and you see everybody's buried on top of the ground in these things. That's how they were because of the water. In Vietnam, because of the water down south and all that, you bury people like my dad and all of them. They sent his body. They're buried in these pagodas inside of them, sealed, and it heavy stuff. So you wouldn't see their bodies and stuff floating away if there was a big typhoon or something.
Oh,
like that.
I did.
So,
okay, I dig. So I mean,
what they did is they dug underneath the pagodas, and they had hospitals and everything. That was a whole. They did that all the time. They did that all and you couldn't go over there. We wanted to blow the graveyards up, like fly B-52 bombers over and just arc light the hell out of them, and blow. And they would drop these anywhere from 2,000 to 5,000 pound bombs with delayed fuse, and it would go up underneath the ground and explode. They wouldn't let you do that because you're defacing their thing, and then now you'd have the whole country trying to kill you. So we had to, go in there one by one and get them out or whatever.
I mean, you're a pretty humble cat. I just would like you to talk to the audience about why you received the Purple Heart.
I didn't get the Purple Heart. It's weird. I got wounded. I got wounded in the back. My brother, everybody saw it. But they never gave me the Purple Heart.
Really?
Right. Never did. I got wounded, but they did. A lot of guys got wounded and never got the Purple Heart. You'd be shocked how many guys got wounded and never received the Purple Heart. I'm looking at all I got to do is pull my shirt off, and you can see the wound on my back. A piece of shrapnel. I'm walking around, and I kept reaching back there and scratching because it was itching.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's about a 2-inch scar, 2.5-inch scar, and I kept reaching back there and scratching. And one of the guys pulled my blouse off and threw it on on my bunk and everything. And the guy said, "Hey, Gradney, you bleeding, man." I said, "What?" And we got in a hell of a firefight. They fired mortars and stuff at us. And I pulled my shirt off. And he said, "Yeah." And the guy went, so the corpsman came up and he started pulling. I was like, hey, it kind of stings. And he pulled this piece of shrapnel out of my shoulder. That was it. He never wrote anything up, and that was it.
you were back in combat like the next day? I mean, what? That's
oh yeah, because that wasn't considered like a wound. You know,
right? I did.
I could have got a Purple Heart for it, but if I'd have just complained and rolled on the ground and it just burned a little bit, and they poured alcohol and all kind of other stuff, and then he kind of singed it closed, and and that kind of thing, and bandaged it up. And he changed the bandage a few times daily, and I was good to go. It healed right up.
I just got a text from your brother who's dying to hear this interview, but he's with a new band right now. He told me to ask you about this Neil Young story. You have a good Neil Young story, apparently.
Oh, what, Neil? Oh, no, I can't. Come on, man. He knows better than that. I can't do that.
What about?
I would have to be. I tell you one-on-one. Okay.
That's fine. No problem.
Yeah, I could. I don't want to put the blast and jam Neil, man. I don't want to jam him up.
No, here's the thing. Go ahead. It's totally cool.
In the music industry, when you get to know, you get to see the real. You get to see. The real people.
Yeah.
And the other side of them may not be, or you might have caught them at a bad time or anything. Man, it was. That's how it was.
When you,
I didn't want to jam Neil. Kenneth's crazy. Man. He's saying, "Hey, man, tell him about this." No, man, you can't say that.
Well, he was just trying to listen. He was trying to give me some fodder. Here's the thing. What about going back to this idea of like, did you get to hang with cats like Johnny Guitar Watson?
Yeah, Johnny Guitar Watson. Yeah, he was commonplace with us. See, these guys would come down to Studio Rentals and rehearse all the time. We'd set up in all these rehearsal rooms, and my main man, he and I ran second shift, and that's when everybody would come, man. And you'd have all the big. You had Motown in there. You had Stax Records in there. You had all Columbia. You had all the big names in there, man.
This is unbelievable.
Big. Hey, man, big names. In Western and you didn't bow and scrape to these people. They were just common everyday dudes, man.
Did you?
That's all they want you to. You should have seen it. If I'd have had a camera at that time.
Yeah, right.
When you grow up in this industry, it's like no big thing. But if I had a camera, man, and you see these buses that belong to these guys lined up, man, about 5-10 of them, man, just lined up down the street. And it's a no parking zone, and the police come by and wave at us and keep going because they knew who was in there. They knew that Willie Nelson was in there rehearsing. They knew that, and you couldn't go out there and say, "Hey, everybody, Willie Nelson's in here." You can't do that, And these guys would have their buses, and wow. When I think about it, it just kind of blows me out, man, because I never thought about it like the way people see it getting blown away. I can't see you getting blown away. You interview these guys.
Well, no, but but you just made it very crystal. That's the unique thing about my show is that I'm able to humanize these cats, and I'm not like in awe of it. I've done 2 hour-long interviews before the world caved in on him with a guy who performed at Watt Stax, which was Bill Cosby. And
Bill, oh man,
and you know what it is? No, but you know what I wanted to be clear. We talked about his involvement. I never watched the Cosby Show. We talked about his involvement with Coltrane and jazz on the East Coast, and then
hey, Bill thought Bill would come over to Studio Rentals. They go, Gabe, here come Bill. I liked Bill, but I didn't like work. I didn't like bring it in. He'd pull up in his Mercedes, yeah, and we throw like guitars and whatever he needs in his back seat. He was like a regular kind of guy, man. But funny as hell, man. I said, he go, Gabe, come here. I go, no, man, just leave me alone.
Yeah, no, the cool thing.
He would have me rolling. He would have me rolling on the ground. I'd be laughing so damn hard.
Well, no, I mean,
and I get ready.
Yeah.
And I get ready to walk away, and he pulled me back outside in front of Santa Monica Boulevard. He pulled me back, and he go, okay, let me tell you about. And he would tell me these true stories, but I just laugh. I just couldn't. Sometimes I couldn't catch my breath. I'd be laughing so hard. Bill to me was a very, very, very funny guy.
Well, there's no, and let me tell you something. The one thing that I'll send you these interviews because you're going to die because he literally, I mean, when he was a gym teacher on one of his first show, I mean, he'd bring in people. Right. He'd bring in Willie Bobo to be a guest host or Richard Groove Holmes.
Oh, yeah.
He loved those cats. But
wow, Richard Groove Holmes, man.
Well, no,
wow.
I mean, part two for us is going to be all jazz. But I just want to tell you something, Gabriel. Like, I'm going to play you this tune right now. This actually was one of the major impetuses for me to track down your brother, and we'll see if you can identify it, and if anything else, paint the picture behind it. So let's settle in here, and we'll take a listen and come back. Okay?
All right. Oh man.
got for us, Gabriel?
No, you know what? I'm going to say it like this.
Yeah.
I know that song. Yeah, I know that song. But my favorite, and I used to copy all of his stuff, was Mongo Santa Maria. That was my favorite conga player of all time.
Now, just for the audience out there, that was a session 1973, Chico Hamilton, I Can Hear the Grass Grow. That was
right,
and that was
right.
What was so revelatory to me. When I pick up that album, I see it, I'm like, Chico's on Stax. Now, in my mind, I'm thinking Stax is Memphis. I'm like, he went to Memphis. Then I look at the personnel, and it's all the cats from Little Feat, plus a guy you probably hung with was Stu Gardner. And I'm like, this is, and then your brother tells me it was Chico was kind of, I don't know, could you talk about those out? To me, that's some of the hottest. Mongo was amazing. In fact, I found a 45 of his on Battle Records the other day, which is just so ridiculous. But I just,
okay.
You know, but
and you know you're right. You know who's playing congas back there?
Sam Clayton.
Thank you very much. Him and I used to jam all the time.
I have yet to talk to Sam Clayton. I've interviewed every percussionist from Candido to Ayrton.
Sam would do that break in that conga. I said, dang, that sound like Sam.
Exactly, dude. He was on fire. Yeah, because those. I mean, I don't know if you were at those sessions, but it was so. I mean, Chico.
No, I was there. I took the sessions.
Take me inside and break it down. Break this down.
Okay. Forrest was sitting in the office, and he's sitting there with his dad. And I walk in, and Chico said, Gabe, come here. I said, okay. He said, I never did a rock and roll album. I said, Chico, you gonna do a rock and roll friggin' album? And he go, and Forrest go, Gabriel, just listen to him. And I said, okay, what you want to do? He said, I like to do an album, but have that taste in there, meaning his style.
Sure.
And do it with a group. Okay. In that album, I don't know if you can, was when they took off and did that long rendition was, come on.
Hold on, I'm going to draw it up. It's my favorite. It's seriously my favorite album.
No, the guitar. Who played the guitar?
Oh, Lowell George.
No, okay, George. That's what I'm trying to remember. Okay, Lowell played that, and Sam played in. Little Feat was in there, and Chico was playing drums, and that's all Chico. Chico wanted to group. They were in there they were playing some rock and roll. Chico walked in, and his brother, who was on the road with, set up Chico's drums in the studio, and Chico sat down, man, and just started grooving. All that stuff you hear was groove. There is nothing is written. It's all.
I love groove. This is why I wanted to talk to you, because you could
listen to the music, guys. It's just a groove. Chico would be playing the drums, and he said, they look like, what do you want us to do? Whatever you want to do. Chico just go like that. He go because he didn't want to say anything, because you'd hear him say something over there. So he would just give him, do your thing. And that's when Lowell, I don't know if they got it, if they ever put that on there, but Lowell started playing the slide. Him and Chico were burning on that. Oh, you should have heard that slide guitar, man, with Lowell doing that. Oh, Lowell was one of the kings of the slide guitar.
Well, I mean, if that's Chico's version of a rock album, he crushed it out of the park, because that is, I mean, Chico to me was really just laying back and letting those guys, I mean.
Yeah, right, because all Chico did was want his name on it, on a rock and roll with a rock and roll band.
But it's so classic. If you don't look closely, if you look at the back of the album, you're like, Paul Barrere, Kenneth Gradney, are you kidding me, with Chico? And I was like, how the heck was there? So I've been tracing this connection, and now I get a chance to talk to Gabriel Gradney. This is the genesis of it. Unbelievable.
Oh, he told me, he said, okay, Gabe, can you, Forrest said, Gabe, can you hook up Little Feat? That'd be the perfect group. The Little Feat, and set up my dad in studio room. I said, when you want to do this, man? He said, tomorrow too late. I said, okay. I said, Forrest, I got to go. Whatever you got for me to do right now, you got to cancel it. Let me go talk to Little Feat right now. He said, okay. I knew what they were doing. I went down to Warner Brothers studio where they make the movies.
That's right.
Went down there. I said, where's Little Feat? Down at studio so-and-so. I get down close. They got the door open there, and they're just working on their new stuff. And I walk in, and I go, hey, fellas, look. And they go, oh, here come Mr. Stax Records. That's what they would call me. So, Sam would say it sarcastically, that jive turkey. So I walked in there, and I go, look, you know Chico Hamilton, the famous Chico? He said, oh, yeah, logos. Heck yeah, man, come on. I said, what are you guys doing tomorrow? He goes, nothing, man. It's just nothing. Why? We were going to rehearse. I said, how about meeting me at Paramount Recording Studio, which is next door to Studio Instrument Rental? And I said, I'm gonna have my main man down there. He's gonna be your engineer. They said, well, can we bring our engineer from Warner Brothers? I said, bring him down. Come on, man. Just let's get down there. I want you guys set up. Tell me what you want to do. I went and got this Moog synthesizer, and I ran Lowell George through the Moog and hooked the microphones to Chico. I don't even know if that stuff ever got on the album.
It did not. It did not. It definitely did not.
Oh, if Kenneth and them have a copy of that, man, you got to get that thing and listen. You listen to the drums going through the Moog, man, through the synthesizer, and then Lowell George playing the slide guitar through a Moog on a wah-wah. That is the most insane sound you ever heard in your life.
Maybe I think it's important that when me and you meet in person that we have to dissect that album, because there's two tracks that sound almost identical. It's just, to me, some of the exploratory I don't hear, and the mix was a little bit funky too. I mean, your brother's way up high in the mix.
Yeah, this is how they wanted it. This is how they. I mean, you sit down there, and the engineer's sitting there, and my engineer's sitting there because he's a senior engineer at Paramount Studios. We're sitting, Artie King and I, and Artie's letting Warner Brothers do his thing, man, and they're both doing it, and then at the same time, Lowell will go, hey man, listen, and Lowell will push one of the slides up on the. They go, oh yeah, and Chico go, hey, let me add that. Can we? How does that stuff? And this is how they would do it. Everybody reach over and start. The rest of the group did just Chico and Lowell. Then it wasn't mixed all that. They did all the mixing along with engineers who knew how to, turn dials and click and do all that stuff. So,
well, Gabriel, can we do part 2 sometime later this week? We have a lot more to get to, but we've already been cooking here for 75 minutes here.
Oh, really?
Oh yeah.
Dog, you got me going on that, man. It felt like 5 minutes.
Well, I'm telling you, I'm having a ball, and I just think that there's a lot more. We have a lot more to get to. So, I mean, let me know when. Should I just call you in a couple days and we'll figure it out?
Yeah. One more thing, and I'll let you go.
Go ahead.
This little thing.
Do it.
They took Chico and them. It surprised the hell out of Little Feat. And they turned around. Chico said, "Listen to your TV." They took one of the tracks. And they for the Porsche commercial.
Was that on the second Chico? Because there were two little.
Hey, I wouldn't know the first from the second. All I have been to do was the night recording all of this stuff, man. We had enough there, man, for about 4 or 5 LPs, man. I'm serious.
Yeah, so maybe it's on the second album that I'm not as familiar with, because there were 2 albums that came out from that stuff. Unbelievable.
Right. You got to, and you got to get Kenneth to get the jam. He's got that stuff at his house on that train. You got to hear Leslie West, rest his soul, and the rest of them, man, just in Albert King and Albert Collins and all of them on that doggone thing, and that's what you got to get. And they're sitting at home with that stuff sitting on the shelf. To them, it was no big thing.
What was it like to set up? Did you ever set up Keltner's trap set?
No.
So who was the drummer with Delaney and Bonnie when you gave? Kenny basically said you gave him his break in the music.
Yeah, Keltner, right. Delaney and Bonnie, right? I did all of that, and you know who played on a lot of their
Jim Gordon.
a lot of yeah, no. Oh, come on, got killed on the motorcycle.
Killed on the motorcycle.
Come on, ran smack into a dang pole or a tree out there doing something.
I don't know. I know Jim Gordon murdered his mom, but I don't know about this other cat.
No. If I say his name, you're gonna know. They were the something brothers. They were brothers, and they played like country funk.
Country
Almost
funk.
like
I
Little.
love country funk. Why can't I remember this stuff right now? Why? I don't know who died in a motorcycle though. I mean, I only know like Hal Blaine, Earl Palmer, and those.
Yeah, if I say his name, your jaw's gonna drop. If I say his name, your jaw's gonna. And okay, when.
Well, I mean, we can fill
What?
in some of the blanks. I'll call you. Let's do part 2 this week. I mean, we have more to do.
Hey, give me a call and.
I'm
I'll
going to send you. I'm going to send your daughter a link to this one so you can listen back and some of the stuff that maybe we can fill in some of the blanks from some of the blank spots because I know I was going deep on you today.
No, you wasn't getting deep. Yeah, because you hit me with some stuff. I was like, wait, what?
Yeah, no, I can hit you with those jabs, man. I'll get you off balance and then you're done. So no, I mean we had a ball though. This was unbelievable, Gabriel. I can't thank you enough, man.
Because if you keep me online, right, I'm gonna keep going.
No, I know. I gotta. No, dude, I mean, I'm telling you, we've been 80 minutes, dude. We'll do it again. I'll call you in a day or two. All right.
Please.
All right, man. Much love, dude. Have a great day. Thank you so much.
All right.
Later on. Quite a show with Gabriel Gradney. We were all over the place because he's got so much history, so much to say. We'll be back tomorrow with Ting Vogel and Hadar Perez on the Jake Feinberg Show. Until then, peace.